Hey guys, welcome back for another video. Today, it's Seat Concepts Day. So I'm going to be installing the Tall Comfort Seat Concept seat on the KLX300R. So I've got a 2023 model and this is what it comes with. You'll see it doesn't come with a screwdriver and the pliers, those are mine. It comes with the foam, the cover, and some plastic for the water barrier for the seat. Didn't even think about that when I ordered it, but I guess it's a good idea to go ahead and put it on. The instructions are pretty straightforward. I had to go buy some foam adhesive, some spray adhesive, and I think that was it, really. So I think I've got everything else. So we have to take the Seat Concepts will sometimes sell the entire seat, which would be, man, that would be nice to be able to take the old seat off and put the new seat on. But it's not going to be that easy with the KLX300R. And so for some reason, the KLX300R doesn't get a lot of attention when it comes to that level of modification, but I am thankful that Seat Concepts does provide options for us. So I'm very thankful about that. Just going to have to do a little bit of work to do it. So I've got to take the cover and the foam off the old seat pan, prep it, and get it ready for the new foam and the new cover. So go ahead and hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel as we get started. All right, guys, kind of some real life stuff here. So I took one staple out and I just wanted to see what the staple was. Try to put a staple in with my manual staple gun, and it's not going to have enough power nor reach to do it. So I had to step back and punt, and I just ordered a $40 Aero T50 pneumatic stapler. So add $40 onto the cost of this project whenever you get started, unless you already have one. I've got staple guns, not staple guns. I've got pneumatic brad nailers, but none of them will shoot staples. So wasn't expecting that, but no big deal. Try this little tool out. Used to work on phones, iPhones, repairing them. Got some special tools. I don't really use them anymore, so let's see how long it lasts. A little bit thinner than a screwdriver. Maybe I just need a smaller screwdriver. All right, time for this to come off. I'm curious about where Kawasaki put the adhesive on this foam, because there's none there. It looks like it's just at the top. And how easy is it going to be to come off? I had to tear it right across the seam. It's interesting the discoloration on this side versus that side. And like I said, it's not bad. It's not bad foam. I'd love to try to keep this intact. There's obviously foam there or adhesive in the middle. Gotta score this just a little bit as I go across. The seat pan feels uneven in there, so I'm just going to try to run it right across the edge, because it seems to be where the catch is. I'm trying not to damage it, because if somebody wants to put that back on there, if I sell it one day and they can't use a tall seat, I'm hoping that maybe they can reuse this, but I'm not so sure that's going to be viable. Okay, so there's that. This is tearing right there. Seat pan, foam's off, cover's off. Okay, go put this up. So the next thing for me to do is just to clean this seat up. I'm gonna get that adhesive off right there, just so that the other adhesive is not compromised at any point. I'll trim this off. It's coming off pretty easy. They say use contact cleaner and sandpaper if you've got any rough edges, or you can put some like duct tape over the edge if it's sharp. That's why I'm going very lightly with this, because I don't want to dig into that plastic. All right. I'm going to spray some contact cleaner on it, get her cleaned up, get it ready. All right, guys, so the seat pan's cleaned up. I used contact cleaner on that Maxima. The adhesive just rubs right off with the contact cleaner. That stuff is magic. So it's a brand new seat, really. I mean, the bike's got about 10 or 15 hours on it, so it's in great shape. There's no need to filing anything down. There's no burrs or any kind of sharp edges on it. So now I have simply just dry fitted the foam from Seat Concepts onto the seat. It looks great. It's really going to fill in this hump in the middle. I think give the bike a little bit better look, a little bit racier look. And so Seat Concepts recommended 3M multi-surface spray adhesive, super strength, Super 77. So I picked this up at my local Lowe's and put some cardboard down on my bench just so I don't get adhesive on everything. And I'm going to try to be, I don't know, I got to find the Goldilocks level. I don't want to be too light, and I don't want to be too heavy. So, and I think it gives you not a little bit of time to maneuver it around, but it looks like it's just a pretty easy fit. So I'm just going to spray it, maybe. Stuff is super sticky. Set it on the seat pan. Make sure I'm good on both sides. Got even coverage. Yeah, that's the ease of that is simply based upon the quality of Seat Concepts, because that was just a perfect fit. So you just set it on there and it just forms up where it needs to be. So adhesive has been sprayed. I can already tell, like, it doesn't give you much opportunity, if any, really, to move that around, but didn't need to. Everything looks pretty good. I will let that do its thing. And I'm going to let it sit overnight and just let it cure, because my staple gun's not here, so I really can't do anything else. So until tomorrow. All right, guys. I'm going to do a little voiceover here because that air compressor, when it comes on, is crazy loud. So I had the epiphany of going to my local Lowe's and picking up the Aero T50 staple gun. And what I'm doing here is just getting the water vapor barrier onto the seat pan. So I probably could have cut this a little bit closer. I folded over the edges and stapled it. And the reason I did that was because I wanted a little bit more meat. I wanted a little bit more material there to staple because I figured it would hold a little bit better. I don't know if that's really something you need to be concerned about with the water barrier, but I did, and it worked out for me. So I left myself maybe an inch excess around the edges, front and back, and just folded it over, kind of rolled it up and stapled it. And you can see the end result right there. So it turned out really good. When I sit on it, put the cover on, eventually it makes no sound. There's no issues with it whatsoever. All right, guys, now it's time for the seat cover. The directions say to put the cover outside in direct sunlight to let it become a little bit more malleable, make it a little bit easier to stretch. I did that, but it was only out there for maybe 15, 20 minutes. It wasn't out there for long, and it wasn't bad to work with at all. So you start with the top, staple the top, staple the bottom, and then you work your way along each side, working at the wrinkles as you go. Now, this is trial and error. Get ready to spend some time with this. The first time for me ever putting on a seat cover, and this video was just a little over an hour before I edited it. Now, my daughter came down and interrupted me one time. I ran out of staples a couple of times. The stapler quit working. One time I had to troubleshoot it. So let's say 50 minutes. So that's still quite a bit of time going back and forth. And I'm going to be honest, I put a lot of staples in this cover. I took a lot of staples back out only to put more staples back in. It was a back and forth for me, almost like a tennis match. But in the end, I think it turned out really good. So the wrinkles, it's just kind of a process of trying to figure out where they're coming from and where to attack the seat. So you see I've just got a few staples in here, just trying to tack it up to see the fitment, and I've got a couple of wrinkles there in that bend. That was the only place I really had them, which is, I think, the obvious place for wrinkles to be is right there in that bend, because that's a pretty severe bend for the KLX seat. So staple coming out, and then staples will go back in. So it's just back and forth until you can figure out how much pressure to put on it. And directions say use pressure, but not too much pressure. I have no idea what that meant. I was a little concerned with the amount of staples that I put in and took out, that maybe I would maybe compromise the seat cover on some level, but it's good to go. You'll see towards the end, it's got a lot of staples on it. If you noticed when I was taking the old cover off, the staples were almost dress right dress, almost touching each other on the stock seat. And when I got finished, that's about what I had. Now I'll tell you, this Aero T50 stapler was a lifesaver. You'll see that little nose it has on it. It helps get down into the crevices, because that lip on that seat pan is pretty inaccessible by anything else. You're going to have something that's going to reach down in there and pop the staples. So although it was an additional $40, very well worth it. Well worth it. Towards the end, this back end, I had a little bit too much water barrier, and I cut it off. I just trimmed it just a little bit, just so I could make sure I had good contact between the seat cover and the seat pan. It took a little bit of finagling. Like I said earlier, when you're doing two-tone, when you've got the green and the black, you got to make sure that you're even on each side as far as the color goes. I was just a little bit off, and guess what I did? Took the staples out, put the staples back in. So I don't know if I wouldn't say it's perfect, but it's close enough for me, and I'm pretty anal retentive about my stuff. So you can see a lot of the wrinkles now are gone. I've got one little bitty tiny one there in the bend, and I will eventually work it out. So here comes the the parade of staples. Once I get it to a point where I'm pretty happy with it, it's staple after staple after staple. There was a little bit excess material towards the top, and when I tried to do my fitment on the bike, it was interfering with those little hooks. You can see the molded hooks on that seat pan for the KLX, and it hooks on to the frame as you slip the seat on, and those were getting in the way, and so I had to trim those back. And now I realize staple came out, so staple goes back in. In the end, it fit on there perfectly, no issues, slid right on, and it's super comfortable. No wrinkles. Took a lot of work to make sure there are no wrinkles, but there are no wrinkles. Even on the back, may still have just a little bit more of an edge over here on the right, but not much. Seat fits perfectly. I love this curvature right here on the seat. I love that aspect of Seat Concepts because when I stand up, my calves use this. Usually, well, I don't know if it's my calves or the back of my legs. My calves would have to be awful high to be able to hit that, but my legs, I use this to grip the bike with, and so that's very, very helpful. The only thing that I found after I put it on, and I don't even know if I can show you in here, I don't know if it'll even show up. So there's just a little bit of loose stitching right there. Maybe you can see it right there. See, like this side doesn't have that, nice and tight. This side, loose stitching. I reached out to Seat Concepts and there's more right here. I don't know when that happened. I didn't check it that closely before I put it on. I didn't inspect it like that. But I reached out to Seat Concepts immediately when I noticed, took pictures, sent it to them. They reached out the very next business day and offered to either send me another cover or to send me the seat pan, or for me to send them the seat pan and they would put the seat on for me, which I thought was awful nice of them. But I opted just to have another cover come, and I figured this is probably gonna wear pretty quickly just because I don't know if my knees will be up there. It'll be interesting to see how long I can get out of this seat. I'm not gonna take it off and put the new cover on when I get it. I'm gonna use this one up and then I'll put the new cover on. So really happy with it, super soft. And I'll throw a picture in here the thumbnail is gonna be my picture. It'll show, it takes a little bit of that swoop out of the seat so it doesn't make the tank look so tall. Gives it just a little bit, don't kill me with this, but gives me just a little bit more of a racier look. I think the green matches pretty dang good. It's a little bit lighter than the plastic, but I'm okay with it. It looks pretty sexy as far as I'm concerned. So not bad. Thumbs were a little tired the next day, but I'm pretty stoked with it. Again, thanks for watching. If you give me a like, I really appreciate it, and I would really appreciate a subscription. Thank you guys. Have a great day.